Jigga Kel's not guilty. Doom, doom, doom. Jigga Kel's not guilty. He got a lot of songs that didn't age well. You know what I mean?
He got a lot of files, man. A lot of these things on Epstein raps, man.
What about the teenage girl? Anyway.
There's a lot of there's a lot of Epstein raps out here, bro. There's a lot of Epstein raps.
There's definitely a whole genre, sadly, of Epstein raps.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Epstein R&B too. There's a lot of Epstein R&B.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Pretty Ricky, them niggas was pure Epstein. They was on. They were Epstein grooves, B.
Some of the backstage, underage, adolescent. How you doing? She like to do the wild thing. Yo. You could take it back. You could take it back to 16 candles. That's those was men singing that. Those was men singing joints like that.
There's an interesting thing because we gonna get into that topic because there's an interesting thing where people talk about in our grandparents and even most of our parents' generation, the norms, like the social norms were different. You know what I'm saying? So there's probably a matriarch in each of our family lines who began having kids at 14, 15, 16. And that wasn't uncommon, right? Now, social norms change, and I believe social norms change for the good of society, like for the good of where society is going at the time. So, for instance, like we have more sustainable food sources. We have a longer time where you can be a child, like you don't have to be working, for instance, at a teen or preteen age. There is enough work, there are enough resources. And that's not to say, I know I speak from a position of privilege and good fortune to say that, but most of the world is such that you don't need to, because of our industrial revolution and our resources, work at a very early age in order to sustain your community. Now, whether or not that work still happens because of capitalist greed and the hoarding of resources is another story entirely, but humanity by and large, since the 20th, 21st century, hasn't had to do that. So childhood is longer. Like literally, like the class of people we call children, it's just now existing. Like probably the last like 85 to 100 years, there have been like children and teens. Like marketing to teens is a specific thing now because teens have leisure time, and that wasn't true before. So it's like, I don't want to put on our ancestors that they were in a different society with different social norms and different resources. But also, I know that these norms are better for us right now.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of social norms changing, that's kind of like what's been at the crux of a lot of our recent conversations, especially when it comes to the mirror being held by certain celebrity or iconic figures, leaders, public figures in general in society, particularly in arts and culture, because that's kind of where we weigh in on it, especially when it comes to Black culture. As society's norms change, there's people who remain from the previous version of it. They're still living their life, right?
Yeah.
They talk about that in sociology, right? Where you're like, $1 in my day, that whole dollar in my, decades went by and the world changed, and
a bacon, egg, and cheese is $10, bro.
The value system, both financially and culturally, changes while you live through these changes. And it's interesting to see some of our rap figures. I mean, I'm a rap, I fuck with rap, you know what I'm saying? So we talk about a lot about hip hop culture and rap and figures in hip hop, MCs, rappers, what have you, cultural figures. And we're watching them in different stages of their life. God willing, those who make it, because these days it's hard to see, unfortunately, Black men making it past 55, if even to 55. But we're watching both hip hop and some of its audience asking, how do we age? right? Nas talks about that on his recent release, about how rock stars, you know, get to have tattoos and be old men and do world tours and with rappers, you know. And it's interesting him saying that on this beautiful second act that he's having in his career, third act maybe, I don't depending on what you want to call it. But now it's like, are we aging gracefully? Is our art aging well? There's these other things that are happening, and we're watching it happening real time, and we're watching our society's reaction or our culture, the audience, the community, whatever you want to call it, react differently to figures they once adored, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I want to talk about Kanye West because there's two intersecting there's two intersecting issues that I think you just brought up so eloquently. One being that not only has his art aged differently, his commentary has aged differently. His sense of the culture and the pulse on it has aged differently. I don't even think that his sense of the culture has aged poorly. I think Kanye is one of the most ironic and satirical artists that we've ever had. And I think it's important to note that in the course of his sometimes seemingly erratic behavior, his behavior is erratic, but I don't think his instinct about the culture is inaccurate. I think some of his instincts about the culture are accurate, and the way that he places his statements are actually, like you said, to hold up a mirror to the culture. And that mirror is an uncomfortable one. And because he releases music that has often, I would say, traded in different value systems based on how people perceive women, how people perceive Black folks, how people perceive Jewish folks, depending on how you perceive those groups, his music will land with you differently in different eras of time. And I think he's someone who's always questioning himself in his music, and he's also questioning society. I think that's what makes him the most relatable artist potentially of our time, is that he admits to mistakes. And in this context, like recently, he's admitted to his mistakes. He's apologized. He's both talked about mental health difficulties and said, I am accountable for my actions still. Now, that said, Kanye has been rebuffed by the United Kingdom because he was part of something called One Wireless Fest. He was the only headliner. They booked him out for 3 days. And then both the Jewish community in the UK and the organizers and the sponsors were saying, hey, this can't happen. Like, we know you sold here. We know that you're popular. We know every ticket is gone, but this can't happen here. And what I wonder is two things. What's the effectiveness of a boycott? Like, I'm not talking about cancel culture. I'm not talking about being out of favor culturally for a moment. And then also, who do we get to boycott and who gets to boycott, right? Who gets to boycott effectively? Because right now, Kanye is the target of a boycott. Now, whether or not his fans are driving that is a completely different question. But who gets to boycott and who is the target of boycotts is, I think, wrapped up in who Kanye is.
That's a lot. I think, and spot on, I think it's interesting to have discussions like this because it's more than, oh, he's a far cry from Jesus Walks. You know, like we know that. Right. And I think that's the obvious part, is that he's changed so much from, you know, George Bush doesn't care about Black people to N-word, Heil A-word, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. At the same time, he's also, what you mentioned, I think very sensitive as an artist to our culture and our society and questions that people have. You know, I know a person, a beautiful, brilliant artist that I used to say their vibe thermometer was super sensitive. It was so on point, right? But their response to that often was so bad. You know, the example I use of that is like, you know, putting out the candles on a birthday cake with a civil rights fire hose. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there was a fire. There was a fire.
Yeah.
But you could have just,
you had
blow
to
that
do
out.
it like that.
You had
to do it like that, brother.
Right? And Kanye, he be watering down the birthday cakes with the garden hose a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
But his instincts as an artist and as a person, like you mentioned, he is shout out Asir the Duke of Tears. He said to me one time that he appreciates Kanye. This was in the past before Kanye's rampant wildness, but he appreciated Kanye's willingness to always be true to himself. He said he's the most true to himself artist in hip hop. And that may be a very sound observation about Kanye. At the same time, what's happening now at this position of power that he's grown to, we're watching a different interplay between not just him and his flaws and faults, but how that plays out in the public domain. America and thereby the world's fascination with the falling star of Black men, and or watching us die, and or if we're about to die in front of them, and also a it sounds like manosphere speak, but like a goalpost move on the value system at hand at this time. So who is leading a boycott? Pepsi? Oh, word, Pepsi? Like, there's no blood on Pepsi hands, right? Okay, who PayPal? Oh, PayPal? Word. There's no blood on PayPal hands, right? Sure. It's all Kanye. Now, does this excuse him hurting people? No, absolutely not. But it's another mirror too to how, as a society, we don't know how to deal with full accountability. We know how to point the finger of it, but we rarely point that finger at ourselves to figure out how do we participate in being accountable persons, right? So because it's not that thought out as a process, we don't know how to reintegrate someone in society who says, yo, I've made a mistake and I've hurt people. We say that there is supposed to be some type of, it's not supposed to be retribution, right? But there's supposed to be a process that happens, now, right? When someone is hurt.
You're absolutely
people.
on it. Yes, you're absolutely right. And here's one of the prevailing ironies of things like prison abolition, political prisoners. One of the prevailing ironies, political prisoners.
Hold on, I just gotta shout out the unnamed shorty who used to be like all the time talking about political prisoners, and then would like
prisoners. Oh man! And now, first of all, now we're overrun with political prisoners, like literally, actually. All right. So one of the prevailing ironies of the prison abolition philosophy in the modern world is that it was mostly penned by Michael Foucault, right? Michael Foucault was also a notorious pedophile. So he had some of the most cogent and clear thoughts about how a society without prisons might look. And what he was trying to get at was, are there levels and forms of accountability that allow us to create a just society that does not include only imprisonment or over incarceration? Now, that coming from a person who also was notoriously seeking out underage boys is crazy. Like it is one of the great contradictions of like the philosophical tract. It's also making sense when you learn it, right? It's like, oh, okay, like, of course he didn't want niggas on his ass. He was fucking crazy and he was fucking trying to kidnap children. So the philosophies that he was trying to lay out, though, were about the model you're describing, which is a model that just doesn't just include the adjudication and the punishment, like just the description of it. It includes a rehabilitation. It includes a reformation of society. It includes a reintegration on some levels. Now, prison abolition is it's more of a theoretical position, because when you talk to people about it on the street, like if you walk out in the streets in New York, streets in New Orleans, if you told people like, yo, I don't want prisons no more, they'd be like, so what the fuck were you going to do with all these violent people? There are violent, mentally ill people. And because we are so conditioned to not love each other, especially the worst of each other, the most convenient solution is to just lock them up, throw away, and turn your head, right? But that's also not a sustainable one.
That happens. We're watching those types of extremes play out in various aspects of society. It's kind of like, fuck the police, right? I'm with that. Jay Dilla, fuck the police. All cops are bastards. Not quite the same thing. Not quite the same thing. It sounds like it's the same thing, but it's not, right?
Wait, expound on it. What are the differences?
Because I think fuck the police is about the police, state, body politic, the idea, and plainly put, the direct relationship that Black communities had with oppressive police forces. That's why it's fuck the police. You know, that and mass incarceration and a uneven display of the laws when it came to Black people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's fuck police. All cops are bastards is kind of married into like this Antifa-esque, like, Black Lives Matter adjacent.
Yeah, it's
thing,
the
right?
bipocalypse. It's a product of the bipocalypse.
It doesn't come automatically with like these same type of contexts inherently, right? It's kind of like, yo, it's a blanket response, like, yo, okay, is it still about police brutality? Maybe. All right. What about our communities that suffer from violence, right? How do we deal with these communities? Are there no police now? Okay, there's no police. So, all right, so there's no guns in our community and no police. Okay. Are we prepared to have, what is the system then, right? What is the system then to, what do we do with people who hurt people in the community, or worse, who kill people in our community or destroy our community, right? Because for whatever reason, it seems we're not existing in utopias, right? It's like we need some system, it seems, to be able to have standards of accountability that are measured by also, yo, if you fuck up to the wildest degree, yo, it's degrees. I don't know. It's not necessarily a Hammurabi code, but there is a north and south on the moral compass. There's definitely there's something going on, right? So some of these things don't inherently come with any solutions or strategies baked in to kind of like really pinpoint at what the issues are. That's why we don't know how to figure out how to get through them as a process, like Bambaataa. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bambaataa issue. Now it's like, you know, do we mourn him as someone who is a pioneer, an icon, and many times in ways synonymous with the culture, and who also throughout his journey really hurt people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
which I contend is synonymous with the culture.
How so?
We always reflect, like hip hop or any larger cultural custom always reflects the mainstream. And Bambaataa being an abuser, to me, it's not much different than Diddy being an abuser. That is part of the culture. So hip hop, like, it's like Mos Def said, like, if hip hop is not high on the hill, it's like if there's kleptocracy and there's white nationalism, hip hop is going to be kleptocracy and white nationalism. It is not a separate culture. It lives within and reflects the culture that exists. So Bambaataa, unfortunately, reflects a part of the culture that's there.
Yeah, I think that's reflected in the fact that many people knew this was going on. And similar to someone like the recent trials, we realized that it requires insulation for that to still exist and be protected in that way, you know, and that's what's damaging, because this is someone with decades, you know, and I can speak from experience. I had an OG tell me when I was younger that, you know, that Bam was an abuser. He was specific, you know, about things that were alleged at the time. And this was when I was young, you know, but I took on a stance of, you know, like, oh, I'm not supposed to speak on this because I'm young, and like the OGs know about that, or like, you know, the big homies know about that. And, you know, I wasn't there, so I can't really speak on it, right? And maybe there's a degree of truth to that because you don't want to run away with anyone's story or what have you, right? Or allegations that you can't, you can't maintain any connection to, right? It's like, all right, but then you realize how small degrees are in hip hop community, and I know, people and families who have been affected by, the things that Bambaataa did that hurt people, that harm people and individuals,
Yeah, and they can't be silenced, right? Like it becomes so self-evident in the sheer number of victims. It becomes clear, even in cases like Diddy, it becomes clear when there's the secret that people are protecting of abuse, because the abused don't stay silent. And luckily we've come to that place as a culture too, where abused people do not stay silent. They feel like they have more room to express what's happened to them. But does that still apply to a person who does a public abuse of power, like a Kanye? Because Kanye hasn't, of course, abused people in that way. Some may accuse him of like emotional and verbal abuse within his relationships and on a one-to-one level. But Kanye hasn't necessarily been a serial abuser in the way that Bambaataa was. And do we have room in like a punitive society that's also potentially restorative to accept that we have to be able to handle a Bambaataa and be able to say, hey, if there's a model that we need to create, it has to be able to address the worst of predators and abusers and be able to address the contrite but verbally abusive or influential but verbally irresponsible like Kanye. And I don't know whether we have either. I don't think we have either process. I don't think we have either system. And so we often run into this conundrum where we're arbitrarily picking people who are going to be the scapegoat that moment or that year.
Yeah. And unfortunately or not, Black celebrities become that scapegoat a lot of the time. And I think that's part of the reason. That's part of the reason why we feel a way about it. It's kind of like, okay, where was this energy when so-and-so did it? It's why it's portrayed that Black people celebrated when O.J. Simpson got off for murder. It was kind of like, oh, other white criminals have gone in court with money and resources and somehow were able to vindicate themselves, right? And then, so, they show you, they polarize this portrayal with Black people celebrating, which I think was also intentional. Black people like, yes, OJ. And white people like, no, right? Yeah. And I'm also like sure that was real at the time. I think after Rodney King, Black people needed especially like in LA, like the energy, like, stop it, yo. Like, y'all stay trying to get us, But it's this uneven distribution of the law, is this uneven distribution of the consequences of society, like what the baseline is for what society is saying. Now it's like, nah, that just somehow doesn't apply to white people. Yeah.
Can I tell you about a book that feels super relevant to this discussion?
Please do.
So there's a book by Tarana Burke, who was the founder of the Me Too movement, the Black woman who was the founder of both the phrase Me Too and also was the key organizer of Me Too before it blew up. So she had been organizing under the aegis, under the heading of Me Too for years, like almost a full decade. It tried to encourage young Black girls to speak out on abuses. And she was part of multiple organizations in the South, both with historically Black colleges and universities and nonprofits, helping make Black girls who were victims and survivors visible and giving them the room to speak to how they had been abused. And then, of course, white women took it off and ran with it. But I recently read her memoir. I think it's called Unbound. I think I have it here, actually. Let me see if I remember the actual title. It's called Unbound, right? And and this is a spoiler alert, so I do very much recommend people read this book, but the spoiler alert is that throughout the narrative, Tarana Burke struggles herself with the revelation of her own abuse. And she is both one of the strongest activists in this community, really great organizer, and someone who's reluctant to revisit abuse that happened to her. And then she finds out, again, spoiler, that someone within the organizing community of young Black people, Black teens and youths, has been serially abusing teen girls for like 35 years. And one of the main matriarchs and organizers that brought her into the game knew this because it was her partner and continued to cover it up. So in the same ways that we're talking about the tragedy of Bambaataa being a serial abuser, this abuser in these communities down south, he was a great organizer. He was a civil rights leader. There was that reverence for what he had done for the community at large. And all I could think about was the Dave Chappelle, Bill Cosby joke, where he rapes but he saves. Like, he was doing work in the community to sort of offset. Now, I don't know if that had to do with that man's guilty conscience or how eventually his wife was caught up in his guilty conscience. But Tarana Burke, at the crossroads of that, was torn. She was conflicted because she was like, here's this woman who's raised me in the movement and just generally like made me into the woman who I am. I know myself to be a survivor of sexual abuse and assault. And there's this man that she is seemingly protecting to the detriment of young girls that I'm working with every day. And she went from having utter respect and honor for this elder to utter disdain and disgust and internal conflict, to the point where she was having panic attacks about it, which makes sense. She had her own child in this community. And the thing that's so important for us to sort out is these degrees of magnitude of abuse, violation, violence in general. Because Kanye has committed a type of violence. It is verbal violence. It is when you bring us into your world with the premise of trust. Because he brought us in as a Black audience. I can't speak to his audience now. I don't know what brought them to Kanye, but I guess it has something to do with bleached assholes and popping pills. Right? I think that audience is more concerned with that. But the way that he brought in his core audience, the one that made him popular, as we often do, is with trust that he was speaking to a Black experience, a Black struggle. Now, as Asir said, he was being true to himself at that time when he talked about his Black struggle, because that was the most core piece of who he was. That's what he wanted us to know.
Was he? Or was he, right? Because now,
right.
Now this is the thing. I'm not going to blame his misgivings all on mental unwellness, but we've seen Kanye say everything across the gamut now, right? So even though I'm saying, oh, that's not the same guy that did Jesus Walks, which is not a song that he wrote, but let's that's the song in his catalog. He also went full circle and was putting out gospel music and had the choir and all of that. So there's this kind of thread where he thinks, right, at the same time, same Kanye that said that, he gonna get a white girl or whatever, right?
Yeah.
He said those things too. I don't know. For some reason, I don't. It's not that I don't have sympathy for Kanye. Maybe if I saw him, I would be like, yo, you need a sandwich, bro? Like, anybody offer you any water today? Regulars, like, yo, you all right? Like, yo, you need to sit in the car and take a nap, or like, yo, I could drive you over by they got this spot out here, the flies, it's like some trees. You go overlook the water for like 20 minutes, bro. Take your shoes off. Take them big ass boots off. And I'm a boot rocking ass, but take the boots off for a second. You know what I mean? And just, you know what I mean? Your house is probably all stone. You got an all stone and glass house. You out here doing, I get it, brutalist. You know what I mean? You with the brutes. It's ill because it's like, yo, exterminate the brutes, but the brute, then to become the brute. Like, it's deep because Kanye also, to me, reflects that type of person that is constantly measuring and validating off of what white people and the white gaze is saying about what he's doing in his experience. It's not that it's not black. That doesn't mean that it's not black, but there's an aspect of that in it. Just something that's lacking in self-awareness at times that could be contributed to his personality or whatever, because maybe it's just Chicago nigga shit. Like, he thinks he invented leather jogging pants, or, you know what I mean? It's if you see something for the first time, that's great. And you can be excited. That don't mean the whole world is experiencing it for the first time through your eyes.
I mean, it's that's a really generous reading of Kanye for sure. I think it's a really generous reading of Kanye because, I definitely vibe with this idea that he stopped caring. And first of all, Kanye doesn't care about black people. Like that came full circle too. Yeah. Like he stopped caring about, like, after that moment, he was like, oh, George Bush doesn't care about black people and he the president. So here's what I'm about to do. Like, he's definitely turned his back so much on blackness.
He's like, that's how you get money. You got to stop caring about black people. That's how you get money. You got to get this money. You got to stop caring about black people.
Got to get that Saudi money. I think with him, it's the same kind of tragedy that I see in some of our other major artists and names, which is that once they see that white attention, outrage, lust, fervor, adoration is what moves the needle, is what causes engagement, much more than the black outrage, lust, adoration that first put them on. Once they see that that's the most valuable thing, they're addicted to it. Like if okay, here's an example, because white attention is valuable even in my art form. Like, I write, right? So there are writers who are amazing fucking writers, and they were amazing fucking writers. But when the white liberal gaze got a hold of that one book that they wrote, then it was like, nah, it's you, nigga. Now it's you. Now we gonna have you at all the colleges. Now it's you. Now you're gonna be either the proxy for my white guilt, or you're gonna be the target of my ire. But whatever it is, it's you. And once you're in that spotlight, it is very, very profitable. Now, some artists take that and they realize it, and they resist it. They reject it. They turn the other way. They say, I don't need that. I wasn't talking to y'all. I don't need y'all in here talking. I'm talking to these people over here. I'm talking about these issues. I'm
gonna be broke. Fuck that. I'm gonna be broke. I'm gonna be broke. And black people don't buy my shit either. They think it's too highbrow. So I'm gonna just be brilliant and broke for black people. Like, nah, you know what I just realized? Right. You know what I was envisioning? What? I was envisioning, because, like, if there's really a metaverse, and that's not on Facebook, even though now the metaverse kind of is. If there really is, like, alternate realities, that means that there's a reality where Kanye West went on stage and he was like, Taylor Swift, blah, 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 blah. But that Taylor Swift was a black woman, and no one remembered her name after that moment.
Chill, son. Chill. Especially because the most famous black woman in the world, and Beyonce, was also at the center of that, right? And no one remembers that either. Like, no one remembers that Beyonce Single Ladies was actually the best video that year.
No, that's because the Men in Black, that really stands for Men in Beyonce. And, like, if you say anything bad about Beyonce, like, at night you're thinking they're, like, sleep paralysis demons, but they're the men in Beyonce, and they come and they just lift. They put it in your iPhone, so when you do facial recognition, they just lift the shit and zap, and whatever you said bad about Beyonce is scrubbity scrub.
It's gone forever.
It's scrubbed.
It's gone forever.
You've been baptized in the name of Jesus.
Yo, I think when we talk about an artist like Kanye, I think a lot of this is one grand experiment. Like obviously he understands what's profitable. He knows how to get attention of society at large. But I also don't believe that he believes anything. Like I think he is without beliefs. He's without a belief system. He's just like, yeah, whatever y'all got going on. Like, that's me. Whatever y'all got going on, I'm here. And I think in the most white nationalist time in our history, which is hard for America. Like, that's hard to do. Like, we get more white nationalists than our fucking history. He's recognizing that. He said, oh, this what y'all about to be on? You about to elect this nigga? All right, cool. I'm being the Klan hoodie. Like, he's so innovative as to be absurd, and he's so innovative as to be chafing. He chafes our reality with how much he shows us ourselves. And that's not new to American music or Black artists, but I think it's particularly uncomfortable when the Black artists are saying, hey, like, even Black people are buying into this shit, and it's more popular and it's more profitable than it's ever been.
Yeah, I don't know if Black people are buying into it recently with him the same way we used to. I think a lot. I can't speak for all Black people, but it depends on which group of guys in Asia and Twitter accounts pretending to be Black people, which it depends on which pocket of that you're listening to.
Chill,
you know what I'm saying?
No, listen. Like, first of all, my Nigerian homies is on that shit too. My Nigerians, my Sierra Leoneans, they open the X accounts right now, bro. So don't count them out. Don't count them out.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Foundational Black Americans are gonna be furious when they find out how many of them are Nigerian bots. I'm literally crying, bro. But yeah, it depends on which group of Black people your algorithm represents. If you are, I want the old Kanye, Black people versus, I love Kanye. He can do no wrong. It's interesting. He recognizes too how important it is to still have Black people in your art. How jarring,
for sure,
fascinating, and desirable that is to the white gaze, to have a bunch of, brolic Black men dressed up as Nazis, the novelty of that. But I think we're interesting because we don't recognize that irony in, like, Kende Wiley's art, right? That, like, to put, Black men from a man's gaze in art that white people seem as ironic because you're putting, like, them in a Renaissance context or something like that.
Right.
That somehow...
And the art world has a lot to say about that.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And then it's also like, so this is... We're going to all pretend Black people weren't there now and that this is fantasy. Right. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to participate in that. Cool. So ultimately, that, I guess, lends itself true to the statement about hip-hop not being high ground, right? That it is a reflection of our society, and we live in a white supremacist society, ultimately. Yeah. That's what we're saying. Yeah. Because if your art begins to get popular in America and you're reaching certain sized audiences, you've now left the Black community. You've left niche communities. You've left regional urban markets, right? And that means you've now caught the attention where either you're fully the guy to white people now, or you're amidst having larger white audiences that put you in a different category of influence and what you may perceive, unfortunately, as acceptance.
And also, there's a lot of, because I don't want to make this simply about Black and white. There's a lot of South Asian, Gen Z, like, live in a mixed race or mostly Black community guys who are big Kanye fans, also racists, also incels. Like, there's so much crossing of cultural norms and like social values at this point.
K-pop is racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because no matter what I would fill in the K-pop is, it ultimately, that would lead to, it's racist.
I mean, it's racial ventriloquism, right? It's racial ventriloquism, right? So one of the things that we talked about and I like talking about is how racial ventriloquism is fascinating. This is why we get into whatever it is, an uproar or jokes about someone like Jack Harlow. This is why every time I open up my fucking social media feed, there's a white people doing the Dutty wine on the streets of Brixton. It's because racial ventriloquism, like changing shape to present as another race, still fascinates us.
I think it mostly fascinates white people. And it's not, I don't say that as accusing them of a crime. It's probably symptomatic of being in that role of the society we currently have, you know? Or it's potentially symptomatic of seeing society from a homogenous view, right? Like I remember being in Tokyo, and, you know, you're on Japan. It's a series of islands. Most of the people are Japanese, and they don't all maybe leave those islands, right? And you know what I'm saying? To have, right? So it's like the society, ethnically at least, is relatively homogenous. So there's novelty and differentiation. So when you have these niche groups, like they go all the way in. If it's like, if you're into psychobilly, rockabilly, you really out here with the switchblade and the conch, and if like you going hard.
If you in the dance hall reggae, you that little 7-year-old
you might be a dance hall queen. You might be in the running. You do it that hardcore, you know. But underneath all of that, you're also a Japanese girl. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a homogenous view, what's interesting about white society is this homogenous view, because they're not the majority of the society. They're just the majority of the power in society. But I think the novelty of racial ventriloquism exists there, which is why, and then when we watched it as well, so that's why, like, hashtag white people doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's a person doing anything outside of what they perceive as American culture, European culture, doing anything, even slightly okay, we have to deal with it morally. Like, we're either foul for not willingly accepting it, or we're always accepting it because we're the most welcoming. It's like all of these things, right, that are very polarized. Or we're hating, like, what? That little, you know, I posted there's this, you know, God bless him, you know what I'm saying, with this white brother. I don't know if he's Afrikaans or whatever, but he's with the Zulus doing the dance, you know what I'm saying? Doing the traditional Zulu dance. And it's like, yo, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't know if Afrikaans should do that.
Yo, would the acceptance be there if I became the coldest river dancer, right? Because, yo, I've seen people outright hate on old boy, that cowboy dude who be getting crazy with the gauchos out here when he be going hard, and he be doing his stuff.
What happened with Shabuzi? Remember what happened with Shabuzi?
Yo, see, when you Shabuzi on them, they don't fuck with that. Now nobody like booze no more. You know what I'm saying? But when you get Shabuzi on them, right? And that's what's interesting even about a Beyonce move. Even if it comes from an awkward angle of attack, it's like, nah, I'm gonna do country bigger and better than you, or what have you. But there's this weird loop, like as if some of these things didn't have Black origin or Black influence or interplay.
Exactly.
You know, what part?
And also, you know, the weird thing about that loop is like the biracials. There's a lot of biracials in the mix too. Like there are people who fit into both parts of both cultures. So it's like, if you are a person who has a Black father who is a blues and soul musician, and then you have a white Jewish mom who moved you to Canada, how much of each of those cultures is your inheritance, right? Like you could possibly be and claim both cultures. You could be rapping like Fonte, and
you can get bar mitzvah in your rap video. You can get bar mitzvah in your rap video.
Right. And those are valid experiences that you had. Now, how you carry those experiences is another story, right? Like and how you code switch in and out of those experiences versus people who don't have the luxury of the switch. So people who have the luxury of the code switch, for instance, who can flow in and out of both communities, that's not Shabuzi. He doesn't have that luxury. He can't go river dance. You know what I'm saying? And that's why carrying it a specific way is required. It's required. Like, yo, I told you the other day when we was talking, It's a black quarterback problem, right? They don't believe that we can do the things that they feel like are innately intelligent, organized, strategic. They want that to be their dominion. Just anything that has to do with like the mental acuity that they associate with whiteness, they're like.
Simpler put, it's any position that is akin to leadership.
Yes.
Right, the quarterback is supposed to be the leader, right? Or it's that you quarterback the play, right? Right. You know, so I think anything akin to what is the desired leadership position, head position, we're not supposed to be equipped to do that. But it's funny you mentioned, you know, like, see, maybe I shouldn't like, you know, take my medication, my legal medication before these broadcasts, because you mentioned the having to do the balance, and it's still to a white gaze or palatability, because like if Drake, instead of getting bar mitzvah in his video, was on like BET Uncut, you know what I'm saying? And it was like a tip drill energy video, but he's getting like a bris, you know what I'm saying? But from like, you know what I'm saying? Because he got his bar mitzvah as an adult, he can get a bris as an adult, and it's like shorties. I don't know, sure. You know, that it wouldn't have played out fire for him. You know what I'm saying? It's about the palatability.
If he had some shorties, you know, if he had some shorties from an Atlanta hair salon, like a Decatur hair salon, doing the bris, I don't think it would have gone over the same way.
Not at all. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be like Logic out here, where it's like, you know, it's interesting. You get this certain biracial parents automatically is making like the new pro athletes, like the Jalens, the Jadens, you know what I mean? Or they making Logic, you know what I'm saying? Or they making Logic, you know what I'm saying? It's like you got like, shout out black. Okay, shout outs. That's what's up.
Yo, who's hip hop's worst biracial? I would pose hip hop's worst biracial is actually J. Cole, and here's why. J. Cole is hip hop's worst biracial because he has curried the favor of the black community under the guise of being like the smart, cool black nigga, but he's also cloaked in the favor of the white community by being persistently passive aggressive. Like, he's the most passive aggressive rapper. First of all, he jumps in beefs and then calls the police. He's that kind of person. Like, every time you think he's going to be aggressive about his stance of being like the lyrical number one, like the whole beef started because he said, who's the big three? K. Dot, Aubrey, or me? Who's the big three? K. Dot, Aubrey, or me? Yeah, exactly. Right.
I don't know. J. Cole's a great rapper, man. It's just
he's great at what he does.
You described him like, you know, you work one of these jobs like in a stock room, and it's like the light skinned nigga that smoke with y'all on the break, but they're like told on y'all when y'all got caught.
Yeah, exactly. He said, exactly. He's definitely going to the boss. He's definitely going to the boss after hours.
Niggas. You know what I mean? But I don't know that, bro. I don't know if he really like that.
But look. You know what it is? Point. It's not even. It's not even that he told on niggas. That's not the only thing that he did. He told on niggas, and then when niggas came back and looked him in the face, he was like, "Nah, bro. Like, I don't know what I was supposed to do. Like, chill, y'all. Like,
y'all. You know what I'm saying? It was either me or y'all. You know. I got.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's interesting too, because it's like he's been problematic in his music multiple times. Like, I feel like No Name called him out one time about it.
Yeah, because he don't read. He's among the fucking the fucking the top tier of rappers who does not read. And here's the thing. This is why I like being friends with a rapper, like somebody who's into rap specifically, is because this is a PSA. This is a PSA for anybody who raps, anybody who writes words. Yo, nigga, read, bro. Like, read. Like, not just on your phone, not just the books that people still, not just Rich Dad Poor Dad and the fucking Art of War. Like, go read fiction.
Yo,
yeah,
also,
you know what I'm saying? Read
48 Laws of Power. Need to pack that
First of all, yo,
I need to pack that shit up. That's like a red flag now. Niggas, if you, it's not. You know what it is? Also, not just if you rap too, man. If you out here talking about fucking polyamory or
read,
history,
bro.
or
go
fucking,
read, bro.
You talking about
go read
science.
A motherfucking book, nigga.
Yo, please read some books, yo. Like, especially also if you like under a certain age, like you need to read the books. Like, don't be out here with all of these, unvalidated opinions. Like, that's invalid.
Yo,
it's invalid.
Nigga, if you under the age of 100, nigga, go read a book, nigga. Like, there's no age you outgrow that. You don't outgrow reading.
Bro, it's some books out here that got answers, though, because maybe Sway didn't have them. But you see, look, even Kanye had to pull it back and was like, yo, Sway had the answer.
Yo, and you know what?
Sway had the answer.
You know what's the full circle shit? That, I think, was the first interview where he says he don't read.
I actually haven't read any book.
I think that was the first interview where he says he don't read.
It is so apparent. It is so apparent that he doesn't read. It's like, I've seen many interviews with Kanye where he's talking about something that, like, you could tell somebody in his cipher, or he watched on YouTube, or somebody new in the cipher brought to him, like, yo, so, like, black people is really Israelites, because, like, yo, if you're not, like, a Semitic peoples, actually, right? So he got hit with that, but it was, like, brand new. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, and he read, and now it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? But he ain't read nothing to be like, all right, let me see what's at the crux of this
what
here.
Is meant by
let me
this.
see what's going on. He said, he tried to cliff notes, ghostwriting cliff notes, all of that. Like, chill. You can't cliff notes like, man. You gotta actually read.
Now it's gonna be ChatGPT. The ChatGPT era of rap is about to be fucking diabolical, bro. It's gonna be fucking tragic when these niggas get a hold of.
We in it now. But you know what's funny? You know what ChatGPT is really? Is the chat. ChatGPT is the chat.
Yeah. What's up,
because,
chat? What's up, chat?
You asking, hey chat, should I throw my life away? Yo, chat, check it out. I'm about to do something stupid. Yo, should I do it? Yo, you gonna give me imaginary currency if I do this stupid shit? I'm gonna throw my life away in front and make a fool of myself, chat. And the chat be PTing on your G. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, yeah, do that stupid shit. No doubt. I'm sitting in my crib watching you do your stupid shit, no doubt. Yeah, go ahead, take these digital coins. And then you'll be the most famous person in the world for nothing.
Yeah. The internet hive mind plus the Jalen era of hip hop is going to create the most illiterate albums ever. That's my like early prediction. The internet hive mind of the chat plus ChatGPT in the Jalen era of hip hop, where niggas don't read and they're proud of it, is gonna create. Yo, remember the era of rap where niggas was like, I don't rap? Yo.
I don't rap. I don't rap. I hustle. I don't rap. I hustle. You know what I mean? I'm a killer in these streets. Man, I'm in the streets. I don't rap. I be in the streets. So why you rapping? I don't rap.
Why you rapping? Yo, there's literally there's no profession. There's no profession. This performance fucking technical where somebody enters your fucking field of view like, I don't do this.
You go into emergency surgery, the doctor walking like, I don't operate. I'm a surgeon.
I don't even operate on niggas.
I don't even operate like this. I don't operate like this, but I'm a surgeon. You heard? I don't operate like that, but I'm a surgeon. You heard?
He said, that's not my modus operandi. Yo, you know what's funny though is that we are people who has never actually needed text and books to be wise and to pass down information. But one of our main sources of information, like the grapevine, the dozens, the rap, is saying very particularly, like, not only do I not do this, I don't source it, I don't care to, and if you challenge me on that, you're the hater.
Yo, but
you're a fucking hater.
I think that's recent. I don't want to conflate.
Yeah.
Yo, because
that's recent.
You know what
sure.
it is? Yeah, that's recent because oral tradition, right? We're in a legacy of oral traditions, right? That was a key observation. We're in a legacy of oral traditions, but oral tradition had maintenance, like all tradition.
Yes,
it had maintenance. So in part of the tradition is the maintenance, right? Like you have an altar, you clean the altar a kind of way. You do these things, you take a bath the kind of way. Like there's maintenance is part of the tradition. And now you could just say whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and now because of that, and it's so rampant, that's why anybody could come on here. Anybody, that's why it's funny. It's the irony of us having a podcast and like be like, all right, I'm gonna produce a podcast for our niggas. But you are a credited writer and journalist, right? Who is trained in your craft to do these things. And it's like, yo, I'm not just, yes, these are my opinions or my observations, but this is the lens, this is the critique I'm giving it, right? Even past my opinion on it or any judgment, this is the critique I'm presenting on it, right? So it's kind of like, yo, when it comes to this hip hop shit, yes, I am a byproduct student, child. I am a practitioner, purveyor of the culture, right? And I recognize that it is one. And in its maintenance, why we should have discourse that has some semblance of like, yo, let's take it a step further. What's really at play here, right? Because if we talk about this hip hop shit, it's birthed out of the circumstances of this dominant culture too, right? So it's always going to have this interplay, this mirror, and oftentimes, very paradox type moments. You know what I mean? As it's trying to find its place in it, and that's why maybe I am. If I'm not sympathetic, I'm cautious on how I observe and judge someone like a Kanye West, who, yes, hurt people. You know what I'm saying? And then someone like Afrika Bambaataa, who is a serial abuser, where it's kind of like, no, you were predatory on people. I think we hurt people. Everyone hurts people. That doesn't excuse how we hurt them. But when you're predatory, it shows that you have a drive to hurt people. You know what I'm saying? Right. For whatever reason that may be, and that that's a difference there. But it is interesting to watch who the accusers are in a situation like Kanye West. Because you kissed the rabbi rings. You did the other people. No one at BAFTA had to do any you know what I'm saying? No, right? We talk about British people being upset about something. Y'all wasn't upset at BAFTA. Y'all was like, oh, nah, he got a mental condition. Oh, yeah, he could say nigga. It was uncontrollable. It's like, even your condition been conditioning. Even your condition been conditioned. How your mental illness got racism in it? That's crazy. That's like if I walked around with a Tourette's only calling out slurs at niggas. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, come on, bro. Like, and that's not even, I'm not going to say and act like I'm an expert on that condition either, and be ableist in that way. But it's very interesting though. It's very interesting. And that's what I think Black people, whoever those are, whether that includes the homies in India pretending to be Black in the metaverse, you know what I'm saying? Or, you're somewhere, you in Thailand, you in Vietnam pretending to be Black, getting these body counts up. Whichever Black people need to decide what the maintenance of our culture is going to be. Well, that's what it is, yo.
What are the standards?
If we can decide that, what are the standards? And then, and those who decide to take our standards with, hopefully don't tuck them under these other oppressive cultures as a metric to how to value and validate themselves. Because we are the wealth generating engine, right? So how is it that we can't tap into that to figure out systems that work for us?
Yeah, wealth generating engine, and we don't know how to drive the car. So it's when we accept that we do have all this power, then we have to also accept that the standard bearing lies with us. And unfortunately, the standard bearing is in such a confused place that we're unable to get out of the mode where we just point fingers and blame and drag down, even when we need to like put checks and balances in place of people who are violating the standards, we don't know which standards they're violating. We're not saying it. We're not like codifying it. We're like assigning it to a person. It's like, okay, well, today it's Chappelle, and then tomorrow it's Kanye, and then the next day it's Jay-Z, and then the next day it's Busta Rhymes. Like it doesn't matter what the standard is. It's just the only part of it.
Whose turn is it to go lean against the tree and get whipped on the back? Because in reality, it's that. But every day it could be Donald Trump. Every day it could be Netanyahu, right? Every day it could be, right? So I think it's difficult to do an assessment and a full analysis on any American culture, which is a dominant cultural export, and not be entangled in racial dynamics and how that creates these oftentimes very diametric like loopholes and just like things that are difficult to kind of make sense of, because I don't have a solution on that. I don't know what to do. I didn't listen to the Bully album, but I thought it was interesting that what the focus like in terms of relevance, where it's being shifted and how intentionally it's being shifted away from Kanye at a point where he was attempting to make it better. Is it that we don't believe that it's sincere, right? So you mean to tell me you thought it was sincere when he was, can Kanye West actually be a Nazi? Is that even possible, right? Is that even possible? So it's like, all right, was that sincere? Okay, this is not. We only put the spotlight on it when it hurts people. Okay. I don't know what the solution is there. And if I expect to find answers amongst those same people moving the spotlight in the first place.
That's great analysis, and I'm good with this being another brilliant episode of Smart Dumb Negus.
Yeah, same. I appreciate you, and let's see let's see what Kanye does next. Let's see. The thing is now it's like after this, you do an album called Cuck, and then it's like then you hit this moment, and then like 3 years from now the tapes come out. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the ebb and flow. You know what I mean?
The Diddy tapes. He gonna be on them Diddy tapes, bro. They ain't talking about those yet. Those ain't come out yet.
Those ain't come out yet. You know what I mean? The Diddy tapes times the Epstein files. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I'll trump in both though.
The end. Mommy. That's when the WB frog come out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit, bro. Yeah, and I'm not listening to that album either. I'm not listening to that album. There's no way. There's no fucking way I'm listening to that shit. Oh man, it's like, yo, you bullying black people, nigga. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yo, people forgot he was selling Confederate flag T-shirts long time ago days. Long time ago days. He was charging niggas $200 for a T-shirt, $200 for a T-shirt with Confederate flags on it. Long time ago days. I've been saying Kanye's an interesting character. He was never one of my favorite rappers. I appreciate his talent. But yo, this is not long time ago days he's doing that.
Nigga, the only thing he's bullying is your reading level. He's bullying your reading level, nigga. If you're still buying that shit, he's bullying your fucking ignorance.
Oh my God. Read books.
Holy shit. Read books, yo. Go out, read, yo.
Read a book, read a motherfucking